rounding out the week once again with NXT, as is per usual for the midweek wrap-up. And we ended on a high note. This was a good NXT. Yeah, we got a lot of progression to Takeover.
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones that's like, let's see how many people we can fit on the show.
Yeah.
All at once.
Again, you know, a lot like 205 Live. There was a lot of like talk segments, but I mean they are coming up on Takeover, so it does make sense that there's going to be a lot of build. But yeah, this one, the action that we did get, which was 3 matches, I believe, were all really good, all in all. So we open up with Aleister Black taking on a guy named Cesar Bononi. Cesar got a little bit of offense.
Not a lot.
He was probably the most intimidating.
Whoa,
Oh, there it goes.
Neutralizer off of the table.
Well, I think Cesaro won that one. He was the most intimidating as far as like who Aleister Black has faced.
Yeah.
Because he was significantly bigger than Aleister was.
Yeah.
And you know he had a really nice drop kick, a couple of real stiff shots, but you can't really stop Aleister Black because he's just so zen and he can like kill you from every angle.
He's so kicky.
Yeah, and I loved his he did that first like lifting knee that really kind of dropped Cesar down, and then he tied up one leg, dropped him down, and kneed him in the back. And then Cesar got right up and got kicked in the face with Black Mass, and Aleister Black picked up another win on NXT. And then we had a bunch of stuff in between that's just kind of, we're going to just hit all the talk segments here. Ember Moon has been pulled from the Fatal 4-Way at NXT TakeOver due to a Grade 1 sprained shoulder after being ejected from the ring by Asuka. So it is now just a triple threat between Asuka, Ruby Riott, and Nikki Cross.
We know who's going to win now.
Yeah, and we had a look at both, we had a look at Ruby Riott. It was a cool little video package for her. And then we had a sit-down interview with Nikki Cross where Nikki just pretty much scared everyone away from the interview area. She didn't want to wear the microphone. She just kind of like held it and talked into it. She looked like a cat batting at like a toy with the boom mic above her. And then eventually just got real creepy up into the camera.
Until we couldn't say anything.
Yeah. And she just kept whispering to Ruby and Asuka, saying that she was going to destroy Ruby and she was going to take everything from Asuka. In true sanity form.
Yep.
We also found out that, well, you probably knew before NXT, but it was confirmed that Pete Dunne will challenge Tyler Bate at NXT TakeOver Chicago for the WWE UK Championship. That should be a great match to watch. And we got a match set for next week as Drew McIntyre was doing an interview, talking about how, nothing's really happening for me, but if the last 3 years has been any kind of indication is if something's not happening for you, you make it happen. And then Wesley Blake is a moron. And so now next week we're going to get Wesley Blake versus Drew McIntyre.
And in very similar to that exact same fashion, another big guy that likes to kick people really hard, Cassius Ohno, was doing an interview, and he was interrupted by Andrade Cien Almas, who told him that he shouldn't have even bothered coming back. And now they're going to have a match next week.
Yeah, Andrade's been more focused on what happens after the match, going out and partying, that he doesn't really care about the in-ring action. But I think next week Ohno's going to make him care a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, he's going to beat some sense into him, maybe.
Hopefully. And we also got another Velveteen Dream vignette. The Patrick Clark experience. Coming soon to NXT.
There's even more talking in the ring.
Yes!
Because DIY was like, hey, we need a title match.
And fuck Heavy Machinery. The line starts behind us.
But we don't actually want to fuck Heavy Machinery.
No. Then they were interrupted by Riddick Moss and Tino Sabatelli saying, hey, we're here. Now the line starts behind us. And it's like, yeah, maybe if guys that are starting on the roster start behind you, but as far as title picture, no. Ciampa and Gargano punched him in the face, and then it turned into a tag team match.
Yeah. Pretty good match.
Yeah, Moss and Sabatelli got some good offense. I'm still not a fan of Tino Sabatelli. Never really have been. Got to see him while he was here. Didn't like him then either.
He smiles too much.
Riddick Moss is good though. I like watching Riddick Moss in the ring.
I think they make a good team. They complement each other well.
They do complement each other very well.
They've got that kind of Jindrak Cade vibe.
Yeah, you've got the athletic one, and then you've got the one that's just kind of like rough and tumble, just gonna like brawl the person down. It's a very good combination of the team.
And they just then they have that look. They're young, they're jacked, they're ready to go.
Yeah.
They look like championship material.
And both of them are two of the strongest guys on NXT, so I can't take anything away from them there. But DIY does end up picking up the win.
They took something away from them.
Yes. After Johnny Gargano dove onto Riddick Moss, we had Ciampa drop a knee onto Tino, and then DIY met in the middle, right where Riddick Moss's face was. And DIY picks up the win. Regal then makes it official that DIY will face AOP for the Tag Team Championships at NXT TakeOver Chicago. Paul Ellering says, okay, fine, if you want to put them in this match, then their blood is on your hands.
Yeah, so essentially he's just like, okay, you want to book another DIY versus Authors of Pain? Well, don't be surprised when DIY never gets to wrestle again.
Yeah, and then Regal dropped the bomb that this match will now be a ladder match for the NXT Tag Team titles.
I feel like this favors DIY a little bit.
Just a little bit. But, big guys have surprised us in ladder matches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's the biggest stark contrast between DIY and the Authors of Pain is what will be the Authors of Pain's biggest help in the ladder match is they won't have to climb nearly as high up the ladder to reach the titles.
Exactly. They literally only have to get to about third or fourth rung, and they can already pretty much reach the titles. So yeah, I'm excited to see what these two teams can do in a ladder match. We've seen Ciampa and Gargano in ladder matches before in other promotions and whatnot, so should be fun to see what AOP can bring to the table.
Yeah.
And then our main event, deciding who will face Bobby Roode at NXT TakeOver Chicago, Hideo Itami versus Roderick Strong. This was fantastic.
This was a killer match.
If you have not seen this match yet,
go and watch it. Stop.
Watch it.
Pause this. Go watch it. Come back. And then pause it again. Watch it again. Come back. And then watch the rest of us.
And now we'll talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I knew we were going to get a great match out of this, especially for a number one contender spot. You've got Roderick Strong, who's still really trying to prove himself on NXT. You have Hideo Itami, who is trying to make a fucking spot for himself because he keeps getting screwed over by injuries.
Yeah.
And
he's trying to get out of this rut.
It's been a rough couple of years for Hideo Itami.
Yeah. I just think, the one thing is he doesn't want to fall into that, the Dolph Ziggler spot.
Right.
Or the Wade, the Dolph Ziggler, the Wade Barrett, the guy who they keep trying to push him and then he gets hurt, so...
Yeah. He wants to make an impact every single time so his name stays relevant. And you can tell that he really tries to do that every time. And the fact that we've never forgotten about Hideo Itami speaks volumes about that. And then, Roddy, with the two-parter, Who is Roderick Strong, that we got the last 2 weeks, you had the commentary constantly hitting on the fact that Roderick Strong and his wife just had a baby, and so he's focused on being able to support his family, and going for the championship and being NXT champion is the best way to do that. Absolutely. And so, both of these guys have amazing drives going into this match, and then on top of the fact that they're both solid fucking workers, this, you said it after we got done watching it, this is easily a contender for match of the year. Yeah. Just some amazing back and forth. No one really had more advantage than the other in the match. It was so evenly matched. Yeah, and really the only kind of turning point they had is when Roderick Strong just decided to hurl Hideo into that ring apron. Yeah, the ring apron assisted backbreaker. And then Roddy had control for a little while after that.
But it was so...
Hideo had that super Falcon arrow.
That was cool.
The Falcon arrow off the second rope, holy shit.
It was very, very back and forth. They made it look extremely competitive.
Yeah.
You know, they did some really good, like, mat work at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, and then eventually a lot of it broke down a couple of times into just, like, to see who could hit the other person harder.
Yeah.
With Roderick's chops.
Roddy's chops and then Hideo's elbows, his forearm elbow shots. He gets some solid shots on that. Couple of good he got a enziguri right to the back of Roddy's head that looked pretty stiff.
Roddy freaking receded him though because he got the one where he was leaning back against the ropes.
Oh
and
yeah,
when he cracked Hideo in the back of the head with an enziguri of his own.
Yeah, no, it was just an amazing match. Really makes it feel like this spot is super important.
Yeah.
Both guys trying to show that they deserve that spot more. And it came down to a point where Roddy was starting to fire back up a little bit. He had the momentum, and Hideo shut that shit down. They had a moment where they both just kind of like stepped up to each other, and they were like right in each other's face. And Roddy just kind of had like this overwhelming like bit of frustration where he just kept shoving and like swiping at Hideo, and it was one he tried to go for like a right hook or a clothesline, and Hideo ducked it, picked him up into a GTS, and dropped him. And now Hideo Itami will face Bobby Roode at NXT Takeover Chicago.
Yep.
And that should be interesting to see. We have quite a card for NXT Takeover.
Yeah, and there's still another week.
Still another week. I mean, okay, so we've got all the title matches set. And we have the UK Championship set. Yeah. So we have at least 2 more matches to be set for NXT Takeover. I would imagine. Here's what I'm thinking is that Andrade will probably leave during their match next week, and we might get another match between Ono and Andrade at Takeover, and we'll probably have Drew McIntyre not against Wesley Blake, but against someone else.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Those are my guesses for the other undercard matches. But yeah, regardless,
we'll find out.
It's gonna be a good show.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to mention, just because it happened today, congratulations to Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. Birdie Joe Danielson has arrived in the world. So they are proud parents of a little girl. So congratulations to both of them. Not a whole lot else going on. Not that I can think of. Still got, I think, the week of NXT TakeOver is going to be when we have the return of Lucha Underground.
Huh.
So Lucha will return.
It's coming back soon.
Very soon. So, thinking about maybe doing like a small recap of what's happened so far, so we can kind of be re-caught up with NXT and Lucha Underground on the same level once it returns at the end of May. So. But for now, guys, thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Click the links.
There's a lot of them.
Check out the podcast.
That's one of the links.
Check out Reasonable Wrestling Fans.
It's reasonable the W.
Like wrestling. And check out the rest of the videos coming up this week, including next, our top 5, where Kevin Hogg tells you who impressed him in the month of April.
Lots of people.
But for now, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you at whatever video you decide to watch next.